Okay, notice that these two objects that we placed in looks pretty much the same. Can you see one difference in this object? This guy right here, yes. Since this is a PDF, whatever image that you printed is just going to show up here. Okay, since this is a vector drawing and it has all the stuff that you set up in AutoCAD is going to show up here. However, this line type Illustrator does not recognize, okay, because it was what, dash dot or whatever it was. It just didn't recognize it. It doesn't have a line type that's called dash dot or what. So it's just places it in as a regular line. So what we're going to do is to use this as a model and emulate this line type. Remember, this is a stroke right here, so that right here, it's recognizing it as a dashed line because it's having that oh, it did recognize it. Okay, so basically it's saying that the dashed line is 0.37 points and then the gap is 0.19. So I'm sure if we zoom in far enough, we'll see all that stuff. Okay, but it doesn't show up in the scale that we want. So what we're going to have to do is change the dash dot to something that will be visible. So I'm going to change it to 40 as a dash. I don't know if it is, but we'll just change it as that. We'll just put something like 20 as the spacing between. Dash, we'll say it's just 1 point because it's a little dot. And then same as this 20, and then dash is 1 point, and then 20 is the gap again. So when we do that, notice that that shows up, and it's fairly similar to what we have. So you might have to mess with these points a little bit so that it shows up as something that you originally had in mind, but that's how you're going to create this as its own line type. This didn't show up as a line point weight that I kind of wanted. You could always change that here so that it does emulate what the original thing was. Okay, which comes to a point that this thing right here, since it was a DWG file, which is a vector line, it is showing up as a vector line. So each one of these objects, if you open this up, is showing up as that circle. This line is that line right there. That circle is that circle. So everything that you drew on here shows up in that same layer, and that's why I kind of created a separate layer for it, so that I could, whatever other drawings that I might put in a different layer so that that could be all turned on or off all together. Whoops, on or off all together and kind of grouped together. Okay. Okay, so the reason that I put all these in different layers is so that I can organize this. If this was your elevation or floor plan, I could keep it in one layer and keep it very manageable. If I have another elevation drawing or second floor or whatever, I could use another layer. I could put that into a different layer, so I could keep that in its own separate layer, so I could manage that layer, because every one of these creates its own line within that layer. Okay, so that is that as far as inserting my objects into my artboard.